Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. It's Haskell Saturday at Monmouth Park, and one of the major races on the undercard is the Grade 1 United Nations. Let's take a look at this field. Some good turf horses going 1 3/8 miles in this Grade 1 event. $300,000 is the purse. It is the first leg of the late 50-cent pick four and the third leg of a $400,000 guaranteed 50-cent midday pick four. And the most intriguing entrant in the field, Mike, in my opinion, is the number one Arklow. Brad Cox is not fooling around, wheeling him back in 6 days.
Yeah, we just saw him last weekend at Keeneland. The Elkhorn was not his best performance, Dan, but we know he's better than that. I thought first off the layoff there back in June at Churchill, I thought he ran pretty well that day. So we'll see if he can rebound.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this race. I'm not sure I completely agree with Timeform US here in that they have Mugzamatic on the lead along with the number 9 Parrot. I think that Perret has to go right to the front as he did in his last race. Ever since they've turned this horse into a true speedy distance type, he's been very, very successful, and I would expect them to go right to the front here.
Yeah, I agree. There's really no point in tinkering with it now. He ran a really good second in the point of entry late last year, and he came back off the layoff last time, and he ran really well again.
Arklow is arguably the best horse in this race. He's the most accomplished, the winner of the Grade 1 Joe Hirsch Turf Classic last year. He's earned 7 triple-digit Beyer speed figures in his career. In the Louisville 2 starts back, maybe he was a bit unlucky. He was down inside, kind of had to squeeze through a tight spot turning into the stretch, and he was just outrun by Admission Office, who's an okay turf horse in his own right. What happened last time?
I don't know. We'll see if he can rebound. He just wasn't sharp in that race last time in the Elkhorn. So we'll see if he can rebound. I think you're right. He's the best horse in the race. And if he can bounce back to one of his good efforts in there, he's probably going to win, Dan. I don't know how short a price I want to take on him off a short rest off that last race.
The number 2 is Standard Deviation going out for Graham Motion. This horse, when trained by Chad Brown last year, showed enough tactical speed to adapt to any kind of pace scenario. We saw that in a slow-paced Hill Prince, where he was able to get close to the pace. And then last time out in the Tiller, where they went solid up front, he was able to hang back and come with the run. Maybe he needed that race. It was his first race back since they sent him overseas for a second in a Group 1. This is a rock-solid horse that you know is going to be running late.
Yeah, I guess I could give him that excuse last time that maybe the shipping around and then the little layoff didn't work to his advantage. Because personally, I thought he would run a lot better in the Tiller. He was sort of racing on late in that race without being a real threat. I do think he's better than that. I do think he can take a step forward in this race.
Mugzamatic is a beacon of consistency. He's won 10 of 27. He's won 4 of his last 6 with 2 runner-up efforts during that string. He likes Monmouth, and in his first start for Michael Maker, what a surprise. He won a stakes race. Let's watch the Soldiers Dancer against fellow Florida breds at Gulfstream on June the 6th. And Mugzamatic's just a solid, nice performer. He got this done with a good effort.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he ran fine in this race. And as you're right, Dan, he's just a very consistent horse. It wasn't a real surprise to see him get up here first time for Maker. And he did come with a nice late run in that race. Prior to that, second best to his now stablemate Aquaphobia. I'll be honest, Dan, I like both of those horses. I just never thought either one of them was ever going to win a graded stakes race.
But again, this is Maker's MO, isn't it? Not only do you take over a horse and win stakes races with said horse, but you stretch them out in distance, and all of a sudden they seem to find their niche. This horse, interesting because he can stay close to the pace. Eve's Medal, the 4 is really up against it. Boy, what a tough spot for a second time out maiden running in a Grade 1. Let's watch his debut. The horse came up for second. He was only 66-1 in this maiden race, Mike. He certainly exceeded expectations in this spot. But boy, he is going to have to run a career best race to take these horses down.
You can say that again. I guess we'll just see what happens, Dan. I guess the main takeaway from this race is that he did stumble pretty badly at the start. And so maybe you could argue that he was going to win with a better trip, but I don't know what that means in the context of this race.
Aquaphobia, the 5, also trained by Michael Maker, was taken for $62,500 earlier this year. He's got a stakes win, and he just ran a good 4th in the Wise Dan, a graded race. And he was flattered somewhat when the horse that finished directly in front of him, Parlor, came back to run a good 2nd with a 100 Beyer speed figure in the Grade 1 Maker's Mark at Keeneland. This horse has tactical speed. He's going to try to stretch all the way out. And Maker, you trust in these situations.
Yeah, listen, I like Aquaphobia as a horse. Again, I never really felt like he was going to be winning Grade 1 races, even for Mike Maker, and I never really felt like he wanted to go this far either.
I think Current's got to be closer to the pace, a la the race 2 starts back in the Grade 2 Pan American, which was far and away his best performance. He was prompting the pace. He was really pulling hard on the backstretch. Maybe he had to go a little bit early when the chalk Zulu Alpha loomed to his outside with an early bid on his own. He was very game to finish 2nd that day, and he just didn't get his forward last time out, stretching out in distance. Now, I'm not saying he's going to wrest the lead away from the expected speed, but I think he'll be close.
Yeah, I can see them playing it that way as well. Maybe trying to get him a little bit more involved early, and we'll see if it works out. I thought his Pan Am was good too back. I didn't like his tiller as much. And at the end of the day, Dan, I wanted other horses out of the tiller, not this horse.
Oh, Dionysus won a weird edition of the Japan Turf Cup at Laurel way back in September. It was a race where after the first quarter mile, he was in mid-pack, and there was no pace whatsoever. And Javion Toledo decided, let's just go on with it. And no one went with him. And he was able to get to the lead down the passing the stands the first time. Into the backstretch, he gave him a breather, and he was able to hold off the closers. This is a horse that was purchased for $135,000 at public auction in December. Kind of a tough spot off a 7-month layoff. He's an honest horse.
He is. I thought this was probably going to be a little too tough for him. He does like distance. He does have tactical speed. Those are good things, and he'll be a really good price if you like him.
The number 8 Corelli did not face top-flight competition in Europe, but he ran, I thought, deceptively well in the tiller in his seasonal debut. He hopped at the start and must have spotted the field 2 lengths. Then he was last on the rail most of the way, and he had to pick his way through traffic in the stretch while never getting clear. Lasix, blinkers on. If you look up formulator stats, Jonathan Thomas does very well at Monmouth, and he does very well when teaming up with Daniel Centeno. He's a sleeper at 10-1.
Yeah, I thought so too. I think he ran deceptively well in the tiller last time. He's one of the horses I was talking about before when I said I wanted other horses out of the tiller. This is one of them. I just felt like overall, considering everything that went wrong for him last time, he ran a pretty good race.
Parrott beat 3 of these last time out in the tiller. Let's watch that race right now. And not only did he beat 3 of these common foes, but the third finisher, Sadler's Joy, came back to run 3rd in the Grade 1 Manhattan with a 101 Beyer speed figure. So game down towards the inside at 38-1. It looks like he's in hot water right here. He keeps reaching for ground, and you have to give these connections a lot of credit. They stretched this out from 5.5 to 1.5 miles last year, and he ran a good 2nd behind a good horse in Red Night, and he backed that up in his seasonal debut. And if they leave him alone again, he's going to take some catching.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just a very dangerous horse right now with the way that he's been going since they've stretched him out in distance. He can make the lead again. He was really good last time, Dan. That was a race he easily could have lost, and he just kind of refused to lose in that spot. I thought he ran really well last time.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 1 United Nations. We're both going with Corelli in here, Mike. Lots of changes, blinkers on, Lasix on. He's going to have to get out of the gate a little bit better than he did last time out. We're just hoping for a bit of hitting up front. And again, that was a sneaky good race. We'd urge folks to go into Formulator and watch the replay of that most recent start.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he did run better than it looks in there. I don't know how thrilled I am with all the changes. I mean, obviously, Lasix going on is good. We'll see if the blinkers actually helps this horse. I don't know, Dan. I just felt like he ran well last time. He's going to be a price in this race, and I just kind of didn't want Arklow on top.
You're going to try to get standard deviation into the number. I'm going to try to get Aquaphobia, one of the maker runners, in there. 8216 for Mike, 8591 for me. The Grade 1 United Nations on Haskell Saturday has an approximate post time of 5:10 Eastern. Good luck.